Hello, beautiful creatives. I was just sitting here in the studio filling the last page of this Canson sketchbook. This is a ring-bound Canson of mine that spans many years, like probably over a decade, or maybe around a decade. I'm not even sure because I didn't date things back then. I didn't use this for a long time because I didn't like spiral bound sketchbooks. So I think I'm changing my mind on that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm feeling an urge to sort of completely change up the way I am doing sketchbooks, the way I'm thinking of doing it more as a visual journal, or maybe doing a little bit of both. But I really want to start to explore sort of visual journaling more with some writing, just some experimental sketching, not so much making art, just exploring. So this is going to span a really long time. And for materials on this, what got me started on this was I was refilling some of my ink pens that I haven't used in a really long time. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised the nibs weren't all dried out. But I was refilling these, and I feel like that's going to be part of my new visual journaling as I explore with that, is doing some writing with the calligraphy pens. And these Poscas, which I never use the neon colors. They're actually, these are Montana, not Poscas, but I never used the neon set that they sent me. And it was kind of fun to just scribble out these neon colors, sort of draw a face into it. So these are the two sketchbooks that I'm going to tour in this video. I'll have to try to modify how much I chat about each piece depending on how long this takes. This is a pretty big sketchbook. This is the Arteza. It was a gift from Angie. I really enjoyed working this. Not great paper, but it's super absorbent. But it was interesting to work on, and I didn't feel precious about it. So the first thing that I thought of when I was thinking of doing this new type of art journaling for me, visual journaling, was this Frida Kahlo book that I've showed you guys before, where it's just sort of a brain dump, very emotional, very volatile sketchbook of hers with a lot of written journaling. And I just suddenly am feeling very inspired to explore this and to do more of this. So I'll try to remember to link the video where I go over this book below the video in the video description. But this type of journaling, you might see more from me in the future because I'm feeling drawn to that. So let's start with the big one. So don't know when the start date was, but finished September 2024. Oh, you know what it was? There was this last page. I guess this was done in September. But then I noticed this morning there was one last page, so I did that. So I'll have to change that date. But I just want to make sure. I don't remember exactly when I started this sketchbook, but I know it was a span of many years before I finished it. This was a jelly print, I believe. Yeah, these were mixed media maybe, jelly prints. Long time ago, I played with jelly prints. This was probably a palette cleanup page that I never went back to. Some charcoal sketching. Just some pears. Just a charcoal drawing of a face. Interesting how different that is from the way that I do faces now. Very different. So a lot of these are going to be from a Misty Mon class that I took years ago. This was, she would come up with these really awesome reference photos for us to paint, and then we would sort of do our interpretation on them. So this was one of them. This was another one from a Misty Mon class. These are all in acrylic, probably golden heavy body acrylic. That's what I worked with back then. Loved these. This is what really got me started, was Misty Mon on loving doing faces and figures. I just really got into it after I took a few of her workshops. This looks like it was water-soluble graphite. This was an initial sketch for a painting that I did. I'm not sure if that's actually in the final paintings in this sketchbook. I think it might be in a different sketchbook. But this was Blackbird Singing in the Dead of Night, and it ended up being a 2-page spread. Just an abstract painting that I did. No, I don't remember at all what this was inspired by. Some color mixing, it looks like. Doing some tints and tones. I love this. I really like this a lot. It looks like it might have been done with an Inktense pencil. Again, don't know what that was inspired by. That wasn't from one of Misty's classes. Just really interesting. Looks like I might have used some gesso on it too. Just a sketch of a statue. These are 2 statues that I have downstairs. So just a sketch of those. Oh, and then I painted it. And I painted the 2 statues. These are 2 of my favorite little statues that I own. Handmade, interesting little pieces. Kind of clumsy doing a flip through on these big spiral bound ones. This is another statue that I have downstairs. This drawing was inspired by one of Misty's classes called Immigrant Portraits. Playing with faces. This was, just still kind of learning faces. I had been a landscape artist when I had my career as painting on silk, so I really did not have experience with faces. And a lot of playing with that and learning from Misty's classes. More, and see the improvement I made already. I wonder what the time frame was between that first page and this page, because there's a huge improvement in my features and my spacing. These 2 are from Immigrant Portraits. This was from Misty's Immigrant Portraits. This might have been a different workshop of hers, but I love this guy. I've always loved this guy. He's just so fun. And this was another one. This was a page I probably meant to paint over, but never did. I like this guy. This was also inspired by one of Misty's classes, and she uses a Stabilo water-soluble pencil a lot with gesso, and it's such a lovely effect. And that was how this was painted. It was just Stabilo and gesso, and I don't know if I used something else to tint this a little bit of a brown color down here, but it's such a lovely effect. I really love this piece. This was also from Misty's workshop. I don't remember the name of the workshop. It's too bad I didn't keep a record of it. And then the rest of them, I know, this was timed. Something, Take 20 maybe was the name of this workshop, where everything was timed and you had really short periods of time. So this was the reference photo on this one that she had, and this was all I got done in the period. And I thought of going back and finishing it, but I never will now, because I don't even paint that way anymore. It's totally not my style of painting, so I probably won't ever go back. And this was the same thing. This was the reference photo, which is a super cute reference photo. Oh, and this is how Misty Mon interpreted it. See, she doesn't stay very close to the photo at all. She totally branches off into her own style. She just uses these as a jumping off point. Mine started out much more literal. The time frame, this was all I was able to get done in the time frame, because I was trying to render it more realistically. As you see, she does it much, much more loose. So just, I don't know, using up paint on this one. A little landscape, probably again, just using up paint. Oh, okay, so this is some personal journaling that I'm going to skip over. And this was just Holbein gouache, swatching out some Holbein gouache. just an abstract, figurative abstract work, abstract expressionism. Lately, I've been getting a lot of questions on what style my painting is. I do a lot of expressionism, intuitive work, modernism, you know, expressive figurative work. This is more expressionism, primitive, naive, if you wanted to label it. This was oil pastel and paint, it looks like. Acrylic and oil pastel. This was a watercolor demo that I did for you guys. So this is somewhere on my channel. And if I remember, I will put it in the description, a link to it in the description below. I hope I remember. This was a demo I did with Kuretake. This was a palette cleanup painting. Just had some paint left on my palette. And now it's getting more contemporary. So, yeah, starting with that bird, that crazy bird. Maybe even this one. This was 11/4/23. And then the bird was in 2024. So now we're coming more contemporary into 2024. This was... Oh, I think this was a demo I did for you guys with, yeah, Paul Rubens, the extra large oil pastels. And before I put the paper in there, the black smudged all over that. But that is just this was a mixture of the Paul Rubens watercolor and the giant oil pastels. And there is a video where I demo that. I don't remember if that demo is on Patreon or YouTube, but just playing with Paul Rubens' giant oil pastels. I remember this actually. This was a night I couldn't sleep, so I came into the studio and just grabbed those giant oil pastels and played with them. And this looks like it was maybe Posca markers, doing some faces. These were demos that I did with the Paul Rubens. And again, I'm pretty sure these are on YouTube. I'm not sure if they're both full-time or sped up on YouTube and then slowed down on my Patreon. But those were the giant oil pastels, which were so much fun to work with. I need to get those out again and play with those. This was another oil pastel face that I did. Sort of distorted the features, which is really fun to do if you want original... sort of edgy portrait work, is to sort of distort, you know, the nose, the eyes, or some aspect of the face. Keep most of it into proportion, but distort some of it. This is a mixed media that I did in September with palette cleanup. Some of this is flash paint, and some of it is oil pastel, and then gesso. So this was a fun piece to do. And then that is the one that I just did today, fooling around. So that's the first sketchbook. Okay, and this is the Arteza sketchbook. Started March 3rd, 2024 and finished October 10th, 2024. Just sort of an abstract expressionist painting, mixed media. Oh, this was my Nico after Nico passed away. I mean, this was many, many, many months after he passed away, and I was still grieving really, really hard for him. I miss my boy so much. I love my dear Alana puppy, but I do miss my boy. More mixed media play. More mixed media. Some of these might have been demos on either YouTube or Patreon. I think some of these were demos on Patreon. I'm not putting new videos up on Patreon at the moment, but there are tons of videos on there. So if you decide you want to join for like $5 a month, you can binge all the videos that are on there and then just leave. Or you can stay and continue to support my YouTube channel through my Patreon, which is, if you are there, still there, God bless you. That income really does help sustain my YouTube channel. Helps me keep these videos free. More mixed media. This was actually the Faber-Castell watercolor pencils. I don't use them that often. I actually brought them down to my art nest to use recently, to start using again, because it surprises me how high quality they are. They're very pigmented, and I do enjoy using them in my art nest. And Melissa did request that I do a updated art nest video, so that will be coming in the future. I will, because I've completely changed what's in my art nest bag around, so I will do that. This was a demo I did for either YouTube or Patreon. Oh, it was an intuitive painting, I think. This was an intuitive painting demo. This was an intuitive painting that really surprised me. I love these. I called it Splash after it was done. I love these figures that showed up. Intuitive paintings are crazy. Sometimes just the most fun things show up. This was watercolor. I don't remember if it was Kuretake or Paul Rubens. This was an expressive watercolor, floral. I really like this, actually. I like how loose it is. This looks like it might have been the Kuretake because it got shiny. And the Kuretake usually gets shiny if you lay it on too thick. Yeah, this is too. It gets that shine. More expressive florals with watercolor, using lots of water and letting the watercolor have its way. This was in spring. I remember doing, every spring I paint daffodils. This was a mixed media where I just sort of did, put all kinds of leftover paint on the background and used scrapers and brushes, and then I negative painted out the still life. This was a letter to Nico when he was dying. He was sitting beside me, and I can't even look at that right now. Yeah. So this was an intuitive painting I did after he died, and totally intuitive. The images just came as they are, which is so special for dealing with really heavy grief, to do intuitive paintings like this. And the more you do intuitive paintings, the more your visual language, your image language expands, your image vocabulary, if you will, the more you'll be able to see and pull out images. So don't be frustrated if you start trying to do intuitive painting and you're not pulling out images easily. And you don't have to have images. This was another one where I did a watercolor background and I couldn't find anything in it at first. And then I found these two rabbits and this alligator. And while I was doing it, so I negative painted around them to pull them out. And while I was doing it, I was kind of like, that's not fabulous. I wanted like a fabulous, message painting. But it's all good, it's all good. It's all good creative time. So these are rabbits jumping over an alligator for some reason. This was a memory painting I did. A friend of mine and I, back when I might have still been in high school back then. It was 1980, so March. So I had just graduated because I graduated early ahead of my class. But we had an incredible experience of seeing a light in the sky, and it actually put a beam into our car and it illuminated each of us. So I remember looking over at him and him looking over at me, and we were illuminated, and it hung there in the sky for quite a while. I mean, long enough for us to kind of go, what the heck is going on here? And then it disappeared. It just shot across the sky, completely disappeared. So that was my UFO experience of a lifetime. It was really incredible. Actually stopped. We could not even drive the car because the light was shining in us so brightly. This was an intuitive painting demo that I did on either Patreon or YouTube. Just sort of had paint on my palette and went at it. I should put notes on whether things are done on YouTube or Patreon. I haven't been good about that. This was another demo video I did. And it was a just sort of an abstract watercolor background, and then I came in over it with pastel. Some nice watercolor colors in here. I wonder, that might have been a Mi Lang set of watercolors. More abstract watercolor. I really like the soft colors of this one. This is another combo. This one is acrylic and oil pastels. I love these flowers. I love how joyful those flowers are and the way the stems are coming down off of that one. I was using a lot of pastel back at this time. This was in July. So I did an acrylic painting and then sort of enhanced it with the oil pastel. Mixed media figurative painting. That again, I just did an abstract background. Just laid down a background and then sort of pulled out this figure and did some negative painting of these pillows of the couch to pull it out. More faces, fun and funky faces. This was when I got my little sweet Alana puppy. My pretty girl. This was, I think this was actually, oh, this was those gel sticks. Yeah, gel sticks. This is, oh, it says Patreon demo. So this is a demo on Patreon. I have a feeling a lot of these are on Patreon, the demos. But yeah, this was those gel sticks, which I hadn't used for a while. Those were fun. This is acrylic, probably Liquitex Basics. More acrylic and pastel over it. Pastel or, no, I bet you this is Neocolor. Yeah, it doesn't feel as oily, so it's probably Neocolor embellishments. Although, I'm not sure. That looks more oil pastel-y to me. Yeah, it's oil pastel. In dreams and in love, there are no impossibilities. It was an abstract. That was intuitive, actually, intuitive painting. Oh, yeah, this was part of Misty Mon's most recent workshop called, something to do with love or the heart or something like that. And this was sort of a love letter to yourself or writing words of healing and positivity to yourself. Using up flash paint colors that I don't normally use. Yeah, that's been my motto this year, is to use things that I don't normally use. Just an abstract painting. Oh, this was the Liquitex sand medium. I did a video on the different mediums. So this is all the mediums. And there's a video on that. Yeah. I have a playlist. I have on my channel, if you go to my channel homepage on YouTube, there's playlists where you can find all of my art journal flip-throughs, and also another playlist where I have art journal demos. So, because this is just going to be too many videos to link below. Just an abstract mixed media. Ink, ink. These are those ink brushes from Pentel, I think it is. And this is another mixed media. Really bright colors that I don't normally use, and this was so fun. So this is oil pastel and inks. The fluorescent inks in the background, and then I went over it with oil pastel. So much fun. Breathe in, out, 1, 2, 3, and just an abstract piece. Collage, this is mixed media collage. Looks like there's ink and some gesso and a bunch of collage pieces underneath. Golden acrylic ground. Oh, this is more of the demos for the ground. So these are in the video where I show you the grounds. This is all demos that I did for you guys in that one. Those grounds were so much fun to play with. The textures that you got in the paint, really interesting stuff. I enjoyed that, playing with those a lot. More abstract collage work. Oh, this was the demo where I drew with oil pastel on the reverse of deli paper like this, and then flipped it over and glued it down with matte medium so that you didn't disturb whatever you had put in oil pastel on the other side, and it's fixed because it's on the reverse side. So that was fun. This was more that I did in that collage video. Filmed both pages for YouTube. Oh, this is a intuitive painting that I did on YouTube. You guys loved this video because it was just going, it was just going to end up being very abstract. There was collage, tons of mixed media in this. And then at the very last minute, I was saying I was finishing it up and I was going to be done. This lady appeared. So you guys loved that she appeared at the last minute. That was really fun. Just sort of a fun painting, expressionist painting. This is a primitive piece, dog walk. Oil pastel or no, probably Neocolor. Looks like it was Neocolor. This is Liquitex Basics. This was a master study of Ronald Ossery Dunlop, study of his painting called Girl Reading. This was fun. I love this guy's work. I just recently discovered him, and I really loved doing master studies of his painting. This is sort of some of the colors that I used together, and it's such a great palette that I put little swatches over here because isn't that just a yummy palette together? Just a funky face in acrylics. Just more watercolor on the background, and then using some ink pens. This paper definitely doesn't like watercolor. It pills really bad if you put watercolor on it. So it does good with like acrylic or gouache or pen, but not with watercolor. So this next one is a political painting, which I am not going to show. Just messing around with different materials. Oh, and this is the last one. So 10, 10, 24. So that's the last one. That's the 2 sketchbooks from today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm looking forward to sort of revisiting this book and sort of changing up my art journaling, or at least doing more of, a certain type of visual journaling that feels a little more like journaling than just drawing and painting in a sketchbook. So we'll see where that goes. I will definitely keep you guys posted. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Lately, I have had 2 or 3 people tell me they don't give my videos thumbs up because they watch on a TV. You can do it on a TV, but it is so important for all of us creators to get those likes. What I do when I watch on my TV, I keep my phone in my lap and I just open up the YouTube app and I look in my history and it'll show me whatever I have watched on my TV, and I just give it a like and a comment on my phone right there while I'm watching. I never watch a content creator's videos that they've worked so hard on without clicking like. I just feel like they've worked so hard to put the content out there. So that's my workaround. I just keep my phone with me, look at my history, and then click on that and just like it from my account on my phone. So I hope that makes it easier for some of you, because some of you are like, I really want to like your videos, but I watch on my TV. So that is a really super easy way to do it. Then each TV has a different way that you can do it. On my TV, I just scroll up and scroll to the right, and I can actually like it right on the TV, but I need to do a comment on my phone. Anyways, I hope that helps. Our secret word for the week, we'll use Frida, Frida. So let's use Frida in the comments below, and that will let me know that you watched the video till the end. And I will see you in the next video. Take care, God bless, and have a wonderful creative week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.